Hey crafty friends, it's Sarah here. Today I am happy to be back to share another process video with you. I am still working through my September notebook. I'm using the October Traveler's Notebook from Studio Calico. In my latest video, the one that I posted last week, I shared kind of my approach to this notebook and how I streamlined my process and printed out my photos and figured out what stories I wanted to tell on each page. So if you haven't seen that, I will link it down below or up at the eye. But this is kind of a continuation and I'm working through some more pages. So I'm going to share my process for a couple more spreads. This was actually the first page in the notebook, and I'm working with some of the add-on stamps that were offered from Studio Calico for this month. So this is I think it's Grateful Life is the name of the stamp set, but I will link everything that I'm using down in the description box. But I'm just pulling off some of the stamps here. I decided to stamp a sentiment in the middle of my coffee mug there, and I wanted it to line up with the right side of the cup, but I feel like I didn't quite offset it enough to make it look like it was done on purpose. It just looks like it was maybe supposed to be in the middle and I didn't quite get it there. So that kind of bothers me a little bit, not enough to reprint the photo, but if I was to do that again, I would probably just stamp it in the middle, but not a huge deal. And so I went ahead and I adhered that a little bit up from the middle because I want to do some journaling underneath that. I just wanted to start off this notebook with writing out a few things that I was grateful for this month. One of those things being that my husband was off from work on vacation the entire month, which we really didn't go anywhere because, everything that's going on in the world is a little crazy right now, but we just enjoyed family time and just having him home. So that was one of my big things that I was grateful for this month. And then of course coffee, because I am always grateful for that pick-me-up during the day or multiple times during the day. So that's kind of my photo there. And then just a couple of other things that I added in, and I went ahead and just cut those into strips. That is one of my favorite ways to add journaling when I don't have too many lines of text. So I'm going to adhere those on. And one of the things that I really loved about this stamp set is it had some pieces that felt kind of vintage to me. I really love the style of some of the illustrations there, and there were even those embellishments for the side. They're like corner embellishments. I don't know if there's like a term for them. I haven't seen them in a long time, or maybe I just haven't picked up any stamp sets that have them, but I thought those were really fun to add to the corners, and you could definitely add them in the four corners on a page or on a photo or something like that. But I wanted to switch it up, and so I added 2 to the corners of the page and then 2 to the corners of my photo. And again, I feel like I kind of messed up on my stamping there in the top left of the photo. I would have preferred to actually put the stamping underneath the photo, but not a big deal. I feel a little bit out of practice filming videos, you guys. It's been a little while, and I don't know if I feel like a little more pressure when I'm doing something on camera, but it takes me a minute to kind of warm up and just go with the flow like I normally do when I'm working just, without the camera on, if that makes sense. If you film the video, let me know if you feel the same way, but it definitely takes a little bit for me to get comfortable. So I thought I wanted to add some of this washi tape. I love this color. I really love this washi tape. So I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate it. And I probably could have added it to the side with the photo, but I didn't want there to be too much pattern. So I really like the color, but I felt like the pattern was just too much up against these leaves, and I didn't want to cover up the leaves either. So I am going to end up removing these after I've moved them around and tried to figure out if I like them or I don't. And I'm really happy that I decided to remove those because I'm not too fond of those. But first I'm going to go ahead and add in just a few more details to that pattern there. There were some pretty leaves on the stamp set, and I just wanted to add a little bit of detailing. It also brought in a little bit of that darker brown to the left-hand side, which tied in some of the color from the left or from the right. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I didn't want to make it too busy, so I'm not going to add in too many stamps. And I like that title there of Grateful Life. I think it pairs really well with those hand-drawn leaves. I'm also adding in some pumpkins and just making this a little bit more fun. But super simple, just really my only embellishments here were the stamps, letting those kind of be the focal point. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to our next layout. So for this next layout, I'm documenting a few photos that I took of my daughter while she was painting. And I typically end up with multiple photos of my daughter doing the same thing. I will just snap like 4 or 5 when she's doing something, and a lot of times I will just choose my top 2 or top 3, and I like to include them all in my memory keeping. I don't know if it's just a mom thing or what, but if I have a couple of good photos, I like to include them all. So I went ahead and printed out a little photo strip like this, and when I printed it, I did it sideways, I think just because that's the best orientation that fit on my photo paper at the time. And I had intended to cut those apart and lay them out differently on the notebook page, but I thought for something a little bit different, I would go ahead and lay them out horizontally. And I like the page variation on that. So when you're flipping through the notebook, you'll have to kind of flip it on its side and continue on that way. And I really like switching it up that way. Just makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting. I don't do the kind of horizontal layouts that often, but I always really like them when I do. So I should probably try to incorporate those more often. So I did kind of put that photo strip to the right-hand side because I wanted to do some stamping on the left. And then I just stuck some washi tape, that black grid washi tape underneath. And this is another one of those Studio Calico add-on stamps for October. This one was designed by In a Creative Bubble. I think you guys know I love everything In a Creative Bubble puts out there. All of her designs are simple and gorgeous, and I just always end up using her stamps every month. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm also grabbing for the Color Theory kit that released this month, which is circle labels. And I am so excited about these, you guys. These would be really fun for a pattern or just using here with these circle stamps. They're kind of the perfect size for that. And I love that there's kind of a variety now. I've always seen the rectangular labels from Studio Calico, but I haven't seen any of these circle ones. So I don't know if that's brand new, something new, or whatever, but I'm really excited about them. So I've been using them on a few of my layouts this month. And of course, with the Color Theory kit, you get them in all the colors, which is amazing because then you have plenty to choose from. So I wanted to use this circle embellishment, but it didn't quite fit in one of those labels. So I'm going to go ahead and just stamp it onto regular paper here. And then I will cut that out and I will add it on. I do have some sticker paper that I could have used here, but I typically try to use up whatever scraps I have because I always have leftover pieces of paper from printing my journaling. So I just kind of keep that off to the side and then tie it in whenever I'm stamping or I need some scratch paper or something like that. And I just use regular paper like 90% of the time now. I used to always stamp on cardstock for like a cardstock embellishment, and I can't figure out why I used to do that because it just kind of bulked up my notebook. So I much prefer to just have regular printer paper for my embellishments because especially in the notebooks, it keeps the bulk down. So just adding in a few more sentiments here, and then I'm going to go in with my Color Theory alphas to go ahead and spell out my title. I mentioned in my last video how much I love these alphas and the Color Theory kit. I've just found myself spelling out a lot more titles and adding titles to my pages, which is not something that I used to do that often. So this has been really fun to also tie in some color. And obviously you can grab for an alpha stamp if you want to do it that way. And you guys know I love my stamps, but this is just a really convenient way to kind of add this in here. So once I finish adding those letters on, that will finish up this page. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing how these layouts came together. I always second guess myself posting simple videos like this. There weren't a whole lot of techniques that I kind of put in here. So let me know if you like those kinds of videos. Do you like the really simple, kind of short and sweet videos, or do you prefer to see lots of techniques when putting together a page? Because I would love to know what your preference is. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do have some fun videos planned for the rest of this month. But that's going to do it. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.